from the March 15th meeting.
I move to approve the minutes as drafted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we are just discussing facilities and operations. So there were 5 things maybe. We had originally talked about the organizational structure, the hours open, and I guess we're working on a full operating draft, and then talking just about upcoming FGM meetings. So I don't know if we want to pull up the organizational structure. Do I have to log in? And just glance at it and double check it? Can you pull it up or no?
Where's the document at?
From last time, probably. There you go. I can do it. Hold on. Oh, I got it. Okay, sorry about that. So this is what we had talked about before. So we had, obviously, like South Central Dane County Library Board, Village Board, state law that regulates and everything that you'd have to do. So then it's library director, which would be a full-time position. And the 70K is and like all of this, we double checked with kind of the going rates, and I think 70 was what Monona just hired at. So underneath the library director, we decided children's services and adult services, and then a circulation services supervisor. Ideally, MLS for director, and then a children's and adult would also have an MLS. And then underneath that, you have assistant level, children, adult, and then the shelver pool. And then underneath that, it's pages and volunteers. The other thing that we considered was having a full-time technology person, which we could or could not. I think we decided that ideally that's what you have, just based on the needs of the community. And I can't remember who I was talking to, but they said, like and it actually might have been Cameron, like the amount of adult volunteers that you get can be a lot sometimes. And I think Monona probably also told us that you just get so many senior citizens that want to volunteer. So that's what we had, I guess, discussed at the last meeting. Are there any comments on this or ideas?
The clarification on the IT staff, the IT staff would not only just support the IT in the building, they would be supporting patrons who are coming in to seek assistance with
Yes.
IT questions.
Yeah, so it's mostly, because you know how we had talked about, hey Eric, we had talked about having like the circulation desk and then like another technology service desk, and I think that that person would most likely work there.
Good.
And then I also, for like what FGM is putting together, we'd have the library director, the children's services and adult services, so those three people would have office space. And then everyone else would fall into the workspace or the circulation desks or the reference desks.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense? Lucas, does that make sense?
Yeah, that looks great to me.
Okay.
And great visual, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's my PowerPoint skills.
So I'm thinking, so being in IT, I look at IT staff 30K, that position may have high turnover. Did Dane County Library Services give us any advice on retention and promotion and things, so we're not having to hire and retrain and lose and hire and retain, train and lose, where then our efforts go into that rather than library services?
Right. I don't have tips and tricks for staff retention.
Well, my question, I guess, and I.
Like, is that low?
Well, I think it, based on, it being a library and the fact that we have, it appears we have staff going to the village trustees saying that we can't afford a library. The fact is that if we're going to have a library, we need to retain staff. And I think at the salaries, I'm wondering, are those salaries competitive for retention?
So I would say that they are competitive,
Okay.
based on Dane County.
Very good.
Yeah. The MLS, I think, are very competitive. The IT is maybe a little bit low, but if it's not requiring a master's degree, if it's just like an associate,
Yep.
type position, then that seems, because it's not going to take a ton of IT knowledge for a library this size.
The nice thing with like Madison College and being an instructor in that program, we could hire through that pretty easy, as well as create an internship as needed.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll stop sharing that one. The other thing we talked about was the library hours. Okay, you see that one? Yeah. So the required hours open are 58 hours a week, I think, is where we would prefer to be set at. So that's by standards, the minimum would be 48. I think the cap would be is 58, and if you look at the I went around and did all the local libraries around us, and I think at 58 we'd be sitting in a good spot. Which we have the bookmobile right now for 6.15 hours. So I think 58 would be an improvement.
That's fair.
Just a little bit. And what are we thinking for days of the week, hours of the day?
Again, like I put what the hours are and days of the week for Monona, McFarland, Deerfield, Sun Prairie, and Penny up there. I think in Cottage Grove, there will be an expectation that there will be weekend hours. So.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like most places don't have Sunday, or at least, I don't know, kind of 50-50, I guess, which that seems
Yeah, and
pretty low
it's
as
usually
well.
like, if you do have, like Monona, you've got 9 to 5 on Saturday, but Sunday it's only open 1 to 5. So I'm guessing it'd be ideally 7 days a week, but with shorter hours on like a Sunday.
Yeah.
Does Monona do it year-round or only in the winter?
No, they're closed on Sundays in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah. So we could definitely adopt something like that.
So there's flex.
Yeah, my last library, we would open like from November to March for Sundays, just doing 1 to 5. But we only did it in the dead of winter when people would come.
We usually open Sundays, and I don't think they do that anymore, but they, yeah, 1 to 5 on Sundays, like September and May.
Yeah.
Can you turn your microphone on so we can hear you?
Of course.
There we are.
Nice.
So are we good with this?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, Cameron and I have sat down for a couple of hours and worked out the full operating budgets. And I think he dropped it into the teams. Are you on that, JJ? I'm like 7 different email accounts. I can't, going between everything is getting really hard. So he did the, the salaries and then the, like the benefits, and then everything that other libraries put into their operational budgets. So things like maintenance and HVAC and electricity and kind of things that we had buckets for, but then we kind of got them narrowed down, and then he sent it out to like Monona and Verona and a couple of different places just to ask some questions and get feedback on it. So it's looking like a more complete draft now, I think. Although I didn't open it today. And maybe JJ can pull it up, or I can log into Teams on this computer.
We filled out quite a few things. What do you guys do?
What?
This spreadsheet?
Yeah, there's a lot of work that went into it. So I think we're sitting right around like 675-ish. Which is, I think, between our like scenario A and B from last year, if you remember that stuff, which is
Is this the document you guys been working on?
yeah. And then he did an assumption of, the only revenue assumption I think we put in was the 270 from county aid, which was 291 last year, but whatever, we're going with 270 forever. And that so takes into consideration like the personnel, so the salaries, the wages, all the insurances and everything. And then like technology, and which would be the like all of the things to check books out, right? And then like operational supplies, which we know a lot about now. It also takes into consideration the replacements, so you have to, keep your collection at a certain amount, a certain volume. And so this takes into consideration the amount of items that are going to have to be added to the collection or replaced in the collection every year, and that is also one of those set standards from Dane County, which is consistent over time because it goes by population, and even though like all the work that we've done in the operational and hours open and the size of the building and all of the collection items and everything, it's still going to be that 10 to 25,000 person, and I don't think we'll go over that. So I think we're good for a 20-year plan with that. And then it's all of the, like we added in like insurance of the building and maintenance and landscaping and all of that. The gas and electric I don't think takes into consideration any type of solar or geothermal or anything like that into the construction. I was really disappointed to hear that we're gonna have to have TDS. Just kidding.
Not your favorite.
JJ, jeez. Nobody has sense of humor around here anymore.
No, let's go to
It was like 4 years ago. Get over it. I think I'm winning this week anyway. That's fresh. So yeah. This is kind of an all-in, and then we talked a little bit about how we could like start cutting operational expenses a little bit to get it down to where we'd want to be.
Okay.
Questions?
I don't recall the operational budget lines of our other libraries in Dane County. Does this kind of line up with theirs? Is it high, is it low, or right in the medium?
So these are the same, like this, I mean, all of the buckets are the same. We made sure that we matched everything to all the other libraries, and I think that and like some of these numbers are like comparable sizes. So I think it's as accurate as we can get without hiring a consultant.
So it's not where we're higher than the rest because we have something unique or different.
No,
We're medium because we're doing the standard approach, if you will.
yes, and we're meeting, I think like the gas and electric and stuff was for like the size building that FGM was like scoping for, and like the hours open, like the time when you need lights on, and like our population size. So.
Cool.
Anyway. So that's that, and then I think the only other thing I wanted to talk about was just the FGM update and make sure that you all had seen that email come through. I know there wasn't any calendar invite sent with it, but we're meeting in June.
I thought she said initially this was a 4-hour plus meeting.
I thought it was a whole day too.
Her last one was just 2 hours. That's why I have our municipal services building blocked for 6 hours. Just
Okay, so
wait for Lori to confirm.
June 14th, she said from 10 to 12. And I know that's like the middle of the week and in the middle of a work day. And if you can make it, I'd obviously appreciate it, but if you can't, I also totally understand.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Thanks, Carl.
If it turns out to be 6 hours, I mean, 2 hours, something like that.
Okay. All right, does anyone else want to discuss anything? Library facilities or operations specific?
I appreciate all the work that's gone into getting that developed, so I know that you and the staff have been working hard to get those numbers, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then my last question is, do we want to meet before the June library board meeting? Which is,
June 21, maybe?
yes. It would maybe give us an opportunity to debrief from the FGM meeting and then discuss how we want to present this to the public.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
I figure we'll have something debrief from that June meeting, so.
So,
I would say we plan it, yeah.
the June meeting is slated for 6 o'clock on that Wednesday. Would 5 o'clock still work for us?
On Wednesday, the
21st?
Wednesday, June 21st?
5 o'clock, yeah.
The FGM meeting, that's on the 14th, you said?
Yes,
At 10 a.m.?
10 a.m. to
Yes.
12 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
You can try, I can send out a calendar invite
Okay.
if they haven't. I know otherwise I can't manage my schedule very well. Okay. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Move
Is
to
there-
adjourn.
Thanks. Thank you for logging in, Lucas. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Sorry I couldn't be there in person.
It's fine. Have a good time up north.
Thank you.